Hello, welcome to my channel. This is the first video I ever make, so sorry for any scuff. This is the Alice Deross in Memory character rant, featuring the Time of Reunion and Ashes of the Memory Gang. This is made by the Sentigers. I would like to start this off by explaining media literacy. I think it's important for this. Media literacy is the ability to access, analyze, evaluate, create, and act upon using various forms of media, enabling critical thinking about messages, recognizing biases, and producing content responsibly to become an informed citizen in a complex digital world, protecting against misinformation like fake news, and fostering a deep understanding. I think of media literacy like looking through a diamond or a kaleidoscope. You can focus on one part of the story and turn it a bit to see a different part. It can change, even turning a kaleidoscope a little bit can change the image you see in it, and a diamond as well. It does the same thing, if cut correctly. Some people say that the curtains are just blue because they're blue. They just look good. But even if they are made like that, just because they look good, doesn't mean you can't get information out of it or pull a deeper meaning. So I hope you have fun with this rant. Alice Deross. Alice is a very elegant and smart woman. She's also very tough and brave, never betraying her heart and looking for the truth. One of her many talents is disguising. She's an excellent analysis. What? She has an excellent analytical ability, Meaning, when she sees something, she's also very good at remembering it. She's able to sharply capture the emotion of others, and is very considerate of them. She cares for others, and because of drugging and experimentation at the orphanage, her sense of fear is significantly weaker than normal, but she has more than normal endurance to make up for it. There's so much to Alice's character and what she went through. Alice had a very happy childhood with a loving family. Her parents were enlightened and gentle. Her friends like Orphe and Bonbon were kind and reliable. And everyone else who helped take care of her, like Bane and Burke. All the people in her childhood shaped her optimistic and cheerful personality. But when she turned 6, a tragedy struck. Orpheus's mother, Mrs. Blanchett, was sick, and when Orpheus's father, Mr. Blanchett, got medical care for her, he got it paid with money from bandits. The bandits wanted their money back. He had to find a way to get it, because he couldn't afford it. To pay back the bandits, he orchestrated the attack on the manor to get their fortune. The Derosses were going to pay for Mrs. Blanchett's medical care, but they never got around to doing it because they died. The bandits used a piccolo, playing the Nightingale song to unlock the doors to get in. This resulted in Alice becoming afraid of bird calls as she associated it with that event. Alice lost both her parents in front of her eyes that night. After the attack, she got sent to an orphanage and started suffering from hysteria. She became known as the Daughter of Misfortune, blaming her for the entire event, even though she was still just a child. She was also bullied at the orphanage. One of the many ways she was bullied was that the bullies threw dead birds at her, playing onto that fear of bird calls. Alice was still considerate during this time, though, as she buried them. She experienced both mental and physical torture in the orphanage until she was secretly adopted by Wilhelm Lamb as an experimental subject and brought to Melbourne when she was just 14 years old. This caused her to hate the sound of metal, and presumably where she gained her OCD. Orpheus's voice helped her get through all this torture, though, saving her from the brink of collapse repeatedly. This ended up changing her, but did not destroy her. She got training to become a fair lady around this time, before escaping at the age of 21, going back to England to become a social journalist in anonymity, looking for the truth about the tragedy and the disappearance of her playmates. As said before, she didn't make it out in one piece. From these events, she has gained OCD, a dislike of sharp metallic objects, which I think Bonbon is her friend, kind of hurts at her a lot, and dark environments. She also has a constant nightmares now, but she continues on anyways. Bravely. Memory and identity switches. Memory is an illusion born from Orpheus's memories under the influence of drugs within the manor. To Orpheus, memory came to the manor with her mother. Orpheus has no idea who the little girl is. He thinks she's his daughter, and that the mother is his wife. But that's not the truth. I think it's important to start with how Memory and Alice are two different people, unlike every other identity switch. For starters, they're the only identity switch to have two different names. Orpheus is shared by both the novelist and Nightmare. Fool's Gold and the Prospector are both named Norton. Meliponius is both called the Entomologist and the Queen Bee, and so on. But the little girl is called Memory, while the journalist is called Alice Deross. They both also have different birthdays. Alice is May 5th, while Memories is September 13th. I brought it up with media literacy at the beginning of this because of this. There are multiple ways to look at identity switches. They can be different parts of the character's psyche, or how others view them, or it could just be literally that, just a monster that's there. Nightmare, for instance, can be Orpheus's dedication or obsession, like how monstrous he is, doing anything to make his ideas and dreams come to fruition. Fool's Gold could be Norton's greed, his willingness to do anything for a quick buck, even murder, to get out of poverty. Hullabaloo could be how Mike sees himself as the star of the show, as Hullabaloo itself. It's his home, his spotlight, his. Or it could just be how the other Hullabaloo cast see him. Mike thought of the Hullabaloo as his home, a happy place, but everyone else had to deal with the pain there, and he kept saying about how good of a place it was to him. The pain that Hullabaloo gave to every other contestant in that manor game could be reflected onto the person speaking of that place so fondly. Continuing this idea is how the other identity swap is. Joker. Smiley Face is shown how monstrous everyone else sees him. This is shown with how the other participants don't see Joker, as Smiley Face only is Weeping Clown, until he threatens the rest of the contestants. He revealed that he was the culprit of the murders and then attacked them, switching how everyone saw him. And maybe this was just Margaret who could see him, or the female dancer who could see him this way, because of the drugs, since after she jumps into the river, both Murrow and Mike stop him from jumping in, and he's back to looking like Weeping Clown. On the other hand, it could also just be Joker's violence taking form. Or it could be literal, like with the Professor, who got bitten by a rare venomous snake that was from Yidra, the venom turning him into evil reptilian. For Memory and Alice, it could be all of these things. Memory could be how everyone sees Alice as the defenseless little girl that can't do anything by herself and needs protection, showing how none of the Ash of the Memory cast really sees Alice for who she is, truly. It's even seen in game. In the Her event, Memory was a damsel in distress. You had to grab and escape to win. If your team didn't, you would lose. Alice's kindness might be something that shines through with how everyone sees her, because one of Memory's main abilities, or external traits, is pity. The description of pity is the little girl doesn't want those around her to be trapped within a nightmare. This fits Alice to a T, and one of the reasons I think she became a journalist in the first place. Memory could also be how Alice sees her past, those memories of a happy time that she wants everyone to experience. Or it could be literal and just be Orpheus's memories of his childhood. Shipping. Yippee. Okay, being more serious now. Orphalis, Nort Alice, Almeli, Aliric will be mentioned here. If any of these is a problem to you, like you can't even handle them being mentioned, please leave now. I do not want to cause you any trouble. There's a timestamp in the bottom. Just skip to the next part if you don't want this being brought up. Alright, now let's get into this. Shipping is okay to do. I have no problem with it personally, but in the IDV community, it causes a lot of discourse because people take it very seriously. And it also causes a lot of problems with Alice because it's like one of the only ways people talk about her character, how she interacts with their ships, and not her as a person, as a character. So anyways, I'm not going to do this to others and talk about how Alice's relationship with the cast happens in canon. I don't think any ship with Alice works in canon, but again, that is not the point of ships. The point of ships is to see how two characters interact with each other, so I'll go over quickly why I don't think they work. The Orpheus ship focuses a lot on that Orpheus-Eurydice myth side. And remember I said, like, through the diamond, they just look at the Orpheus and Eurydice myth side of the story. I don't think the ship works because Orpheus wants to put Alice in a cage to protect her. Alice doesn't want to be trapped in a cage, and she's strong enough to protect herself. After the orphanage and being a fair lady, she's tough enough not to need protection, as shown in Koa 9 with how she's able to kick a lot of ass. This continues into the next one, the Ali Melly ship. I think it has the same problem as Orpheus, to me at least. Melly looks at Alice's kindness and wants to protect that. I think for the ship, I think Melly sees her younger self within Alice and wants to protect her. Relating Alice to a moth. Alice, being a moth, wants to jump into the fires of danger to find that truth. To protect her, Melly wants to put a net on the flames so she's free. In the Orpheus games, Orpheus can talk to Melly. She can ask you, why do you think moths have the inclination to fly towards the flames that would incinerate them? If you respond with, because of their foolishness, it continues the story. Otherwise, it would just end the conversation there. Orpheus continues with saying, they are accustomed to guiding their vision using light source for their flight, but never have they tried to distinguish the danger hidden within. This could mean towards Alice, jumping into danger to try and find that truth. Melly then asks, what would you do if you wish to keep a moth alive? If you respond with, keep it away from the flames, meaning keeping Alice away from danger, Melly retorts with, I would extinguish the flames and end the conversation there. Also, to note, the other option before was saying, instead of because of their foolishness, was saying because of their bravery. So if you say because of their bravery, Melly ends the conversation. Another interesting point. If you her saying, I would extinguish the flame, by the way, this could mean killing Orpheus or Norton, as both are perceived dangers to Alice from Melly's perspective in the current story. If instead you say, trap it under a net and away from the flame, meaning trapping Alice in a cage to keep her away from danger. The story continues. Melly retorts with saying, that goes against the nature of moths. Important note. Orpheus defends what he said with caring about its survival, saying, when nature and survival contradict each other, a choice must be made, and he chooses to keep Alice alive. He asks Melly what she would do instead. Melly says, I would cover the flames with a net, so they can never harm the moth again. As for the moths, all things evolve. After repeatedly knocking against the net and experiencing the pain of it, they will one day learn to stay away from danger and search for new sorts of guidance. Melly is basically saying that she would cage up the flame Alice wants to go into, the truth that she seeks, and because of the danger that it holds to her. Because that truth is that flame, that desire, that guide in her life. After experiencing the pain of knocking against the net, she thinks Alice will one day learn to stay away from the danger and search for new sorts of guidance, not the truth anymore. Or it could be something else. Before I said how none of the Ashes of Memory cast really sees Alice for who she is, and I think this really shows it off. Both Orpheus and Melly really care for Alice, but both of them do things that go against her nature. She wants to find the truth, not be caged up or trapped in a world where everything, even slightly dangerous, is kept away from her. She wants to live in this world, the real world, free, no matter how bad it is. She will not give up looking and uncovering the truth, no matter how dangerous it is. Because it helps others, Alice believes, and I think it does. Melody thinking Alice will search for a new source of guidance shows how little she truly knows Alice, and just knows her personality, not what she went through or her past. Norton Alice is missing a very important point, I think. Norton caused the cave-in at Golden Caves, and Alice is investigating that case. Norton stole a map to find the gold from Benny, a family friend, to hoard it himself. Benny was dreaming of returning to the mines, day and night, looking for the sparkling gold ore. As stated in Norton's first letter, at Golden Caves, a group of miners somehow got the information that Norton had a map to a bunch of gold and stole it from him. As a result, he set up dynamite to kill all of them and get the map back. Something important to note here is that the group of miners went together for the gold. And this kind of implies to me that they were going to share it, unlike Norton, who was hoarding it for himself. Norton stole the map from Benny and left him alone so that he could keep all the gold for himself and get out of poverty. I understand that want to get out of poverty, but all this is a bit much for me, I think. Because I don't think Benny would have cared about if Norton kept all of it. The important part was going back to the mines and finding treasure again. That's all he wanted, I think. This shows Norton's immense greed. If Alice ever found out that he caused the cave-in, I don't think she could hide it. She probably knows people related to those miners that Norton killed, and I don't think she would want them to suffer without the truth. I think this comes from how in Enchantress's letter, Alice is willing to give her soul up for information and to get information out there from people who know the Enchantress. Patricia? I can't say the name, I'll go with Enchantress. I'm sorry, people. But if she's willing to give up her soul for this, put her soul on the line, I think she would do it. This becomes a trolley problem for Alice, because either Norton suffers as being the one by revealing the truth, or the many go on wondering what caused their loved ones to die in the mines. Ally and Rick doesn't really interact. They meet when Alice introduces herself when she first gets to the manor, and when Orpheus insults his family at the dinner table, and then the last they see each other is when at the race course, when Alice gets the jewel, and Frederick cares more about the jewel that Alice has and his family heritage than her well-being, and threatens to shoot her. Alice looks very unamused by this, and if Koa 9 didn't go by, she was going to kick his ass and disarm him, so that Orpheus would not be shot as well. Anyways, Alice Memory is the best platonic ship. Do not at me. Alice grew up looking just like her mom, and is so kind. I think they would be so proud of what she became. If Memory and Alice ever met, it would be adorable, I think. Memory calling Alice mom, and Alice becoming a mother or guardian to Memory that she lost because her mother died all that time ago. You could say that Alice would take her under her wing. Wink, wink. Alice could teach Memory the skills she learned as a fair lady for fun, so Memory could be just as strong, but without all the trauma Alice went through. An example of this would be like on Halloween. She teaches Memory about the art of disguise so her costume would look better, or teaching Memory to pick locks for fun so that they could find treasure together, or so that Memory could escape if she ever got captured. I know this can't happen in canon, but I still think it's very adorable. Headcanons! Woo! A big problem in IDV. So we're gonna go over mine. I like to think of Orpheus and Alice's relationship as being just friends. As of writing this, however, Koa 9 just released a memory fragment where Alice says that Orpheus is like a big brother to her. So, oops. I get that. That's what the relationship is now. But we don't. What Alice's important thing here, actually said, we now know that's Alice's relationship with Orpheus. The other way around might be a bit different. Who knows? How do you want to take it? I like to think of them being just friends because it adds to the tragedy, I think. And I think it shows a lot more of Alice's kindness. Orpheus being just a friend to the Derosses shows how, like, they're still kind of apart. They're two different families that mingle and have fun together. But after the attack of the manor, Orpheus does everything in his power to become a Deross. By taking their last name, restoring the manor, and doing the memory game so that he can find a way for Alice to forget about the painful past. But in the process, he goes against everything the Derosses are. When the Derosses had the manor created, they were likely trying to do good and stimulate the economy in front of the struggling population by keeping as many people employed as they could. They also were planning on paying for Miss Blanchett's treatment, but died before they could, showing their kindness to others. Orpheus's manor game hurt a lot of people, and I don't think the Derosses would like what their home has been turned into, a place of pain and death. Burke, I think, also brings up the fact that, hey, this is very dangerous, which is why he created Bonbon, to try and protect them. But this is not about him, so I'm going to continue with my headcanon. Alice meeting Orpheus again and seeing his pain at the Deross's death and blaming himself for this, trying to leave his entire past behind, but he has to relook at it again. He has to look back at the past because Alice is calling for the truth. He is a Blanchett. He's not a Deross, and he may not be a Blanchett anymore, even because he wants to throw that past away. He doesn't want to be associated with them anymore. But Alice is calling for the truth, and Orpheus is not a Deross, no matter how much it hurts him. Seeing everything she did, I think she would reach out a hand in support and kindness to Orpheus, because she also blamed herself for the manor attack, and she doesn't want those around her to be trapped within a nightmare. This doesn't mean she just forgives Orpheus for everything and let the past stay hidden. She's still going to reveal it, but is pushing Orpheus to move on from that day and stop trying to make up for it. He doesn't have to anymore. He never did. Alice has already moved on from that day. No matter how much it still haunts her, she's not held down by it anymore. She's moving toward the future. She's running forward, as Ultraman Arc would put it. I already talked about Alice in Memory. Time for lighter mode, I guess. But I think it's still really cute. I'd like to see anyone else's ideas on it, how they might interact if they could interact in canon, so please leave them. But it would still be sad as well, a little bit. After reliving all the trauma of the manor attack we see in Cage of Yesteryear, Alice sees a little girl, calling her mom, not knowing who the child is, questions her, and sees her younger self from that manor attack. Realizing that it is her, but younger, Alice takes her in and gives her the life Alice lost, giving her a mother again, and teaching her a bunch of fun things, and giving her a happy life. I think that'd be quite fun. Conclusion. Alice Deross is such an interesting character, and such a lovely woman. I love her so much. She does not deserve any of the pain that happened to her. She deserves a lot better. I want to see how others see her character and talk about her more, but I don't really see a lot of discussion with Alice in Memory often, so might as well try and start some up. Our wife deserved better. My wife deserved better. I should probably get. After all this, I hope you all have an amazing day. And if you can't, I hope you try to make the best of it. These are some trying times. And we're in this together. I hope you all have an amazing day. Bye-bye.